viral publication.
On the international front, Pam Bondi has been removed as the U.S.'s Attorney General in Trump's administration. We are live around the world on 3news.com. We are also streaming on Facebook and on YouTube, so do send us your messages.
The news now in detail. And the National Association of Sachet and Packaged Water Producers has announced an increase in the price of sachet water effective Monday, April 6, 2026. The association explained that a global shortage of polymers coupled with rising production costs linked to the ongoing conflict in Iran has forced manufacturers to adjust prices. Frederick Kunzo-Tiani has been speaking to some key players and reports.
This sachet of water, commonly called pure water, is something many of us buy without thinking twice. But it could soon go up. What used to be the cheapest and most accessible way of staying hydrated is now under pressure. Producers are warning of a possible increment, blaming fuel price and expensive raw materials. Under the new pricing structure, ex-factory price is set at 8 cedis per bag of 30 sachets, which is the 500 milliliter. Ex-track price is 10 cedis per bag of 30 sachets. Maximum retail price is 15 cedis per bag of 30 sachets. The association has urged retailers and consumers to comply with the revised prices to promote fairness across the market.
You have seen that the pumps are registering. I'm talking about fuel going as high as almost 18 cedis at the pumps, and petrol as well. You have seen that there's a war raging in the Middle East, particularly in Iran, and then around Iran, Kuwait, and all its neighbors. The material that we use for our water production, the plastics, they are all petroleum-based. And our producers are finding it difficult to get the materials because the oil is in very short supply, so we are not getting.
Some retailers and distributors say they are already struggling to balance prices and keep customers.
As a
distributor, I will increase my price based on our executive order.
Even if they are to increase it, it should not be too much, otherwise it will affect our business.
For consumers, however, the prospect of another increment is worrying.
If they increase the pure water, now we will fetch water from the house. Because pure water from 10 cedis to 15 cedis for one bag, it's too much. The 50% safe crowd we can buy. Then they want to increase it. No, we can't do that.
As for me, why should I buy pure water for like 1 cedi? No, I'm not sure.
So if you don't buy for 1 cedi, what will you do?
And then I'll starve myself.
It appears the US-Israel-Iran war is affecting almost every facet of life. The sooner it ends, the better for all of us. Frederick Kunzo-Tiani, TV3 News, Accra.
An interesting question ending that report, that what would you do? Would you pay the new fare? I mean, do you really have an option? Do let us know in the comment section as the bulletin rolls on. In more news tonight, in the wake of the increased fuel prices attributed to the US and Israel war against Iran, some drivers are calling for a hike in transport fares. For drivers at the Circle New Plant Station in Accra, they are unable to break even because of the myriad of operational costs. My colleague Grace Hamo-Ajiman was at the station and has been engaging some of these transport people.
The National Petroleum Authority, NPA, has set a new minimum price floor for petroleum products for April 1, 2026 pricing window. Under the revised price floor, petrol has increased from 11 cedis 57 pesos to 13 cedis 30 pesos per litre, representing an increase of about 1 cedi 73 pesos. Diesel, on the other hand, recorded the biggest hike, rising from 14 cedis 35 pesos a litre to 17 cedis 10 pesos. This spike indicates that over the last 2 weeks, the price floor has gone up by 2.75 pesos. For some drivers, this is taking a toll on their pockets.
It's a fuel in fact, yeah, brepa. Obaya juma pon, udi skeli na beto fuel. Cafes ni kefri ako kumase. Ka otimi to fuel.
Buying fuel has become a struggle. Previously, one could buy 30 liters and it would take you to Kumasi. Now, 40 liters wouldn't even take you half the journey.
5 liters. They say you man pa
me to 6 million and shooty into fuel and the slab buying say
I bought fuel worth 600 cedis, but I did not see any improvement in the fuel gauge. The government should intervene because we are really suffering.
Transport fare increments are not only hinged on fuel price increases.
Spare parts prices remain elevated, especially for Voxy and Saloon cars. Even though it is claimed that prices have reduced, it is rather excavator parts that have seen some reduction.
The Deputy Director of Communications at the GPRTU, Stephen Amoa, says the union is yet to decide on whether to increase fares. Passengers who will most likely be affected are calling for government intervention.
It's not a good feeling, but I'm sure the government has a good reason for doing that. We all know what's going on around the world. So I really hope the government would put a good measures in place. As with the passengers, personally, I'm willing to compromise with the government, but he shouldn't disappoint us going further forward.
War that is now ongoing, the US and Iran war, that has brought this increment. So it's not something that was planned. So we all need to engage and, comport ourselves. We know that they would maybe definitely increase it, but then it shouldn't be as high as maybe it will bring some economic distress to people.
Now to the aviation sector, and Transport Minister Joseph Boukary-Ntmeh says the introduction of the Airport Infrastructure Development Charge is a strategic move to generate enough revenue to modernize Ghana's airports, hinting at plans for new airports to improve connectivity. He revealed ongoing engagements with transport operators to reach mutual conclusion on the intended fare hikes. Christian Yele reports as the Public Accounts Committee ends its hearings in Accra.
The Airport Infrastructure Development Charge has been criticized by some, especially from the minority side, who are of the view that it smacks of insensitive government. There are some industry players who have equally weighed in the conversation and are of the view that it may have negative impact on competitiveness and affordability. But the Transport Minister, Joseph Boukary-Ntmeh, is of a different view. He says it is a very strategic move.
All over the sub-region, our airports are in very deplorable states. Let me tell you that from 2012, Ghana Airport Company did not make any comprehensive levies or charges to upgrade our airports. Our sewage treatment plant is 25 years old, almost full to the capacity. If we do not do something about that sewage treatment plant, one day we will see a reversal of whatever waste we put inside. Our car park is too small to the point that the cars overflow to the streets and create a lot of traffic congestion. We are building a connecting concourse so that when you are within Terminal 3 and connecting to any other country, you just walk through the connecting concourse to Terminal 2 and you are able to access the airline you want to travel with.
He says there are ongoing plans to construct new airports in Sunyani, Wa and Bolgatanga to improve connectivity across the sub-region.
We cannot be the hub to aviation when our domestic aviation is not functional. We only have Accra Airport, Kumasi, Tamale, Wa and Sunyani. The runways are too short, and so jet engines or planes cannot fly to those areas. We are looking at how to serve our landlocked countries, Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger. They will all want to do business with us because they rely on our ports for all their imports and exports.
And in the face of the threat by GPRTU and other transport operators to increase fares by at least 20% if government does not scrap certain taxes on petroleum products in 48 hours. The minister says there are ongoing engagement with the unions to ensure there is a mutually beneficial agreement or outcome on this matter.
Either through this situation that we find ourselves in, you realize that all the fuel prices were going downwards. But what is happening in Iran from America and Israel is creating these issues for us. But the unions are cooperating, we are working together, and we will come out soon with our final decisions.
The Public Accounts Committee has ended 8 hearings in Accra, with the chairperson recommending effective use of the gift mix system to ensure effective record keeping.
Here is a situation where we have a system, that's the gift mix system, that can help us to a large extent to keep some of these documentation and records. But clearly we have seen that the technical people, the people who are responsible to feed the system with this information, are not doing what is expected of them. If you are able to carry these things out properly, we will go a long way to block the huge leakages that we see in there.
Now, you will be paying extra on your next flight ticket and possibly more for goods and services following the introduction of the Airport Infrastructure Development Charge. The trading community, who mostly fly to countries including China, Turkey and Dubai to restock, say consumers are the ones who will bear the brunt of the new charges. George Queening reports.
Airline ticket prices for both international and domestic travel have increased following the implementation of the government Airport Infrastructure Development Charge, which took effect on April 1. The charge is expected to generate approximately $800 million to fund critical aviation infrastructure projects across the country, including the construction of a concourse linking Terminals 2 and 3 at the Accra International Airport. There will also be the development of a 2,000 capacity car park at Terminal 3 and rehabilitation works at regional airports. The new charges are expected to push up fares across all routes, with domestic passengers paying an additional 100 cedis for flights within Ghana. For regional travel, passengers will pay an extra $30 for one-way tickets and $70 for return trips. International travelers will also feel the impact with a $50 surcharge on one-way tickets and an additional $100 on return fares. The president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, Clement Boateng, says the cost will be passed down to consumers.
It is definitely going to add to the cost of doing business, and as you know, no businessman is a Father Christmas. Whatever cost that a businessman incurs will also add up to his price build-up, which will then result in price hikes, and it will be to the disadvantage of the Ghanaian consumer. So I think government, must come again.
For the travel and tour sector, the immediate impact will affect tickets booked prior to April 1, but not yet ticketed.
In the big airports that you have across the world, every now and then you see new developments. You go to Dubai, you go elsewhere, you see new developments happening every day, and so we should also keep up the pace and then develop our infrastructure. We shouldn't say we have Terminal 3 is enough and then we are sitting down. No. That will be left behind. Managing Partner of Aviation Ghana, Dr. Dominic Andor, revealed that there's a possibility of reduced flight use due to the new charge.
We'll be able to see the true effect of this AIDC by the end of September. Fortunately for us, we are going to the summer season from July. So by the end of September, we'll be able to see the true effect of it. We take the end of September figures and probably juxtaposed against what we had for last year. Then we can say whether the AIDC has had an impact on travel or not.
Already, some industry players have expressed serious concerns that the new levy, combined with existing taxes, could make Ghana's airport one of the most expensive in the region and reduce its competitiveness. George Queening, TV3 News, Airport, Accra.
In more news tonight, tomato traders in the Ashanti region have renewed calls for government intervention to boost local production, even as neighboring Burkina Faso left its ban on tomato exports. Speaking in an interview with TV3 News, the Ashanti Regional Assistant Queen Mother, Hajia Mazula, together with several traders, stressed the urgent need for sustainable measures to strengthen the local tomato industry.
The Burkinabe authorities on March 19 announced a ban on the export of tomatoes from Burkina Faso. The Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, in a statement on April 2, 2026, confirmed that Burkina Faso has resumed issuing special export authorization for fresh tomatoes. The earlier restriction had limited the flow of tomatoes into Ghana, affecting supply across markets and the food industry. According to the statement, the decision follows improvement in tomato availability for processing factories in Burkina Faso, along with commitment by stakeholders to ensure sufficient supply for domestic industrial use. Reacting to the development, tomato traders in the Ashanti region noted that the recent export restriction exposed Ghana's heavy dependence on imported tomatoes, significantly affecting market supply and prices. Although the lifting of the ban is expected to bring some relief, they argue that long-term solutions must focus on self-sufficiency.
We are pleased that the ban has been lifted. However, we also urge the government to take stronger steps to reduce our dependency on Burkina Faso. We appeal to the government to invest in the construction of dams to support irrigation. This will enable farmers to increase production and allow us to trade within the country, rather than spending money on imports from elsewhere. There is a major river in Ada, and constructing a dam there would be highly beneficial. If we are able to grow our own tomatoes locally, it will strengthen our food security and boost the local economy.
The government has assured the public of its commitment to strengthening Ghana's domestic tomato value chain and safeguarding local industries.
The Pre-Tertiary Teachers Association of Ghana has endorsed the Education Minister's directive that students wait for their results before selecting schools. The new policy is set to improve the computerized school selection and placement system, giving candidates a one-week window after results are released to make informed choices.
Previously, students chose schools without knowing their performance, often leading to poor placement outcomes. Over the years, thousands of students and their wards have had to queue at solution centers across the country to secure senior high school placements. The Education Minister believes the new approach will enhance fairness and efficiency in senior high school admissions. Vice President of the Pre-Tertiary Teachers Association of Ghana, Adokwe Aikwe Awule, has welcomed the directive, noting that it could resolve placement challenges.
What the minister has said, I can envisage that it could solve some of the problems, I think, to a large extent. But I think we need to change the whole thing. The concept of writing BEC, and based on that you go to senior high school. I think we can have an entrance exam, 2 or 3 papers. Because if I want to go to a technical school, why should I go and write English, science, mathematics, and all of them?
He urged the removal of school categories, calling for equal recognition across institutions.
All of us, government officials, all students, parents, we have this perception about some schools. We all want the best for our wards, so I will go in for category A, even if I know my child is not going to perform so well. I will push my way through and make sure my child gets category A, because the moment you get category A, we think everything is okay for you. So that concept of segregating the schools into category A, B, C, and D, to me, is wrong. Every school is a school.
The General Secretary of the National Council of Parent Teachers Associations, Raphael Gabson, supported the policy, but cautioned against focusing only on schools in major cities and towns.
I think that we all agree that the current system is not actually
fit for purpose. So the statement by the minister as part of their manifesto pledge to see to it that they will bring some reforms that will cure the mischief or the operational challenges with the current system. It's a step in the right direction. We live in a country that we think that everything is about Accra and Kumasi, which is a bigger problem we are facing. The caveat by the president that it should be given, that opportunity should be given to not schools, not people who are in Accra. Accra is locked, Kumasi is locked, Takoradi is locked. I even hope Cape Coast should be locked. Most regional capitals should be locked. And then we should take the opportunities to schools or places that are less and that.
Let's now go to the courts where lawyers of NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Enchiboisiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, have indicated that they will proceed to file a repeat application to stay proceedings at the Court of Appeal after the attempt to halt the case at the High Court was dismissed. The defense lawyers have appealed the High Court's decision ordering Wontumi to open his defense after prosecution closed its case and the court held that he had a case to answer for the charges leveled against him. Lord Idwasari reports.
The NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Enchiboisiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, and his company, Akonta Mining, are facing 6 counts of allegedly allowing 2 individuals to undertake mining activities on the company's Samaraboy concession without prior approval from the lands minister. They are also accused of facilitating unlicensed mining operations. Both Chairman Wontumi and the company have pleaded not guilty to the charges. When the case was called on Thursday, April 2nd, Andy Apiakubi, lead counsel for Chairman Wontumi, moved a motion to stay proceedings pending the hearing and determination of an appeal against the High Court's decision ordering the NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman to open his defense. He argued, among other grounds, that the continuation of the trial will render the appeal nugatory and admission of justice for the accused person. In her ruling, presiding judge Audrey Kokuvute indicated that the application was without merit and dismissed the motion to stay proceedings. Defense lawyers, led by Andy Apiakubi, expressed dissatisfaction with the court's decision.
We are minded to do so, that we go to the office to prepare ourselves to repeat the application in the Court of Appeal, applying for stay of proceedings. We will do that maybe tomorrow or the days ahead. Tomorrow is a holiday, so after the vacation we will do that. And then we will go to the Court of Appeal to argue our points of law and facts, why we think that the proceedings must be stayed.
The Ashanti Regional NPP chairman has been given 14 days to file his witness statements if he is so minded. The case has since been adjourned to April 20 for case management. Lord Idwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
The Ojuna tourism destination is set to welcome the world for the 18th Kwewu Easter and Paragliding Festival. Meanwhile, the Ghana Tourism Authority says this year's event promises exciting packages for patrons. Eastern Regional Correspondent Yvonne Nikwe has the rest of the story.
The usually quiet Ojuna Mountain will once again come alive as it hosts the annual Paragliding Festival, offering breathtaking aerial views of the Kwewu landscape. The Paragliding Festival was introduced in 2005 by the Ghana Tourism Authority to boost adventure tourism, and it has become a major highlight of the Kwewu Easter celebrations. Thousands of revelers are expected to throng the enclave, boasting local businesses and tourism. The Ghana Tourism Authority says it anticipates increased patronage this year.
Ghanaians have understood, and they've understood it better, that it is good to have an adventure. So we are expecting more Ghanaians to fly this time around. Revelers last year we had like 10,000 people coming to view, and we are expecting that more people will come to make it more exciting. We are tying it with a lot of programs. The Kwewu Business Forum, there's going to be musical concert, there's going to be beauty pageant, there's going to be health walk, and traditionally people too are coming together, families in town, and so the place is going to boom.
Transport operators are preparing for increased passenger traffic. With the expected heavy traffic, we'll have no option but to adjust our fares. Food vendors are also expecting brisk business. People hoping for good business to earn some income.
We do apologize for the loss of sound. In more news tonight, effective May 25, Ghana will deploy a free visa regime for all Africans entering the country in a bid to remove barriers and foster a unified African front. President Mahama announced this during bilateral discussions with the Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa at the Peduasi Lodge. A report by Komla Kluche.
Leaders and their senior government officials, supported by their respective ministers, held bilateral discussions and had joint cooperation agreement. In their opening remarks, Emmerson Mnangagwa strongly criticized some Western countries in a no-holds-barred over economic sanctions.
Zimbabwe deeply appreciates Ghana's consistent solidarity, including its principled support for the removal of the illegal and unjustified economic sanctions imposed on Zimbabwe by some Western countries.
He congratulated Ghana for leading the push for the declaration of the transatlantic slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity. On his part, John Mahama said Ghana and Zimbabwe should work together to promote responsible mining and value addition.
I'm also pleased to announce that effective 25th May 2026, when we commemorate Africa Day, Ghana will commence a free visa regime for all Africans. Africans traveling to Ghana will receive their e-visas online free of charge. But between Ghana and Zimbabwe, in-laws, we have a visa-free environment already. We can travel to each other's countries without needing a visa. You just hop onto the plane and arrive in each other's in Harare or in Accra.
He also said the two countries should explore tourism collaboration linking the Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe to Cape Coast Castle in Ghana to take advantage of their historical and natural attractions. The two countries later signed 10 bilateral agreements and the Memorandum of Understanding and political cooperation in areas such as sports, tourism, health and energy. The two countries have also established a permanent joint cooperation expected to be meeting every 2 years. Zimbabwe is, however, seeking Ghana's support in its representation on the United Nations Security Council as a non-permanent seat. Emmerson Mnangagwa later visited the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum and the Swedish Medical Center. Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Peduasi Lodge.
We have more news coming up shortly. Do stay with us.
I love President Charcoal. Why? When there are so many other charcoal toothpaste. That's both charcoal and lemon. Oh, does it? Yes. Look right here.
The business segment is brought to you by MTN. Touch concentrated perfume.
Good evening. Welcome to the business segment on News 360. I am Menu Afo. The Bank of Ghana has dismissed as false reports circulating online that it is planning to establish a 2 billion cedis price stabilization fund. The central bank is therefore urging the public to treat the claims with caution and disregard them.
The central bank has described as fake reports circulating online claiming the bank is set to establish a 2 billion cedis price stabilization fund. In a response to the publication, the bank categorically denied the claims, stating that no such policy has been announced or is under consideration. The central bank emphasized that the information is false and should be disregarded by the public. It further noted that all official communications regarding policy decisions are disseminated through its verified and authorized channels. The bank warned that the spread of misinformation could mislead the public and create unnecessary uncertainty within the financial sector. It is therefore urging the public and stakeholders to verify all information before sharing or relying on it. The Bank of Ghana also reaffirmed its commitment to transparency, accuracy, and maintaining public confidence in the country's financial system.
Away from that, the Secretariat for the 24-Hour Economy says it is working with the Central Bank and the National Insurance Commission to introduce a policy that will allow small and medium-sized enterprises to access financing using insurance-backed instruments rather than physical collateral. The initiative is expected to improve access to credit and support the growth of small businesses across the country.
Finance remains a major challenge for growing businesses in Ghana. Many are unable to secure loans due to high interest rates or their inability to meet strict lending requirements, particularly the lack of landed property as collateral. Speaking at an engagement with the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the presidential advisor on the 24-Hour Economy and Accelerated Export Program, Gusitano, said the Secretariat is working to address these constraints and expand financing options for SMEs.
We're talking to the Bank of Ghana for regulatory forbearance and also the National Insurance Commission to develop and implement a credit insurance guarantee scheme that will allow for loans and credits advanced to SMEs and those in the 24-hour value chain to be insured, so that we don't have to rely constantly on property and other physical assets as the collateral. Because if you do that, then 95% of the people that are operating in business today will not be able to access loans, and that's part of the problem.
The first vice president of the chamber, Dr. Emilia Isiakwa, welcomed the move, saying it could have a positive impact on business growth and the broader economy.
Looking at the system or the mechanism that is being put in place with the insurance policy and everything, you can be very sure that it wouldn't be bad at all. It's going to be smooth for the private sector to access some of these facilities. All that we want is that at the end of it all, there is support from the government, where the government is doing everything in their power to give the private sector that kind of support that we need.
And now Infrastructure Finance Advisor Dr. Kwame Ofori-Kragu is advocating for a shift toward public-private partnerships in financing Ghana's airport infrastructure. He cautions that the scale of the airport infrastructure development charge significantly raises the cost of air travel, making Ghana one of the most expensive aviation markets in the region.
I think that ultimately, private finance is the best way to provide the infrastructural improvements that we need and we require at the airport. Most importantly, public-private partnerships, PPPs as we call it, provide an excellent way to do this, so that at the end of the day, we are only going to be funding and financing things that will pay for themselves. If you build a car park, it would pay for itself ultimately. And I don't see any justification in asking passengers to pay in advance of this. I think it is an almost a lazy approach to mobilizing funds and then funding infrastructure.
Time now to take a look at how the cedi is faring against other trading currencies and how some of our key commodities are faring on the global market. And that's how we wrap up the business segments on News 360. I am Minu. For Sports News is up next. Stay with us.
Sports segment is brought to you by
Sachet insecticide spray and coil.
Let's do some sports here on News360. My name is Mutala Yakubu. To our first story, where President of the Ghana Football Association, Ketu Kweku, has defended the decision to keep Otuado in charge despite Ghana's failure to qualify for the Africa Cup of Nations. Speaking exclusively to 3 Sports, Kweku revealed that both he and the GFA Executive Council were aligned in their belief that dismissing the coach at the time was unnecessary.
I believe that I had to let the coach go at that time. And we never believed as an ESCO that we had to let the coach go at that time, and we stay with that position. We've all done football at various levels, and sometimes there are auxiliary reasons why certain decisions has to be taken or not to be taken. Some of these reasons are not available to a lot of people, and therefore it's very normal when people share their opinions about which direction we have to go. But I look back and I'm happy that we took that decision. At the end, we qualified for the Mondial with the same gaffer, and I don't regret at all.
Still on the Black Stars, former Ghana defender Hans Edu Sape has expressed confidence that none of Ghana's World Cup group opponents would take the 4-time AFCON champions lightly. Speaking after a disappointing international window during which Ghana struggled against Austria and Germany, he noted that the upcoming opponents will not judge the team solely on those match performances. Instead, they would also recognize the depth of talent within the squad.
Be worried also because, you know, there are players missing, and this player, they know the players, they have quality. That's why I don't think that the coaches of these teams are looking only about these 2 games, you know. They are watching a lot of games because, especially the players, they know who they play in England and everywhere. So I think none of these coaches are underrating Ghana.
Hans Edu Sape. Let's cross borders where Italian Soccer Federation FIGC chief Gabriel Gravina resigned on Thursday after the national team failed to qualify for the World Cup for the 3rd time in a row. Gravina, in charge of the FIGC since 2018, had been urged by the government to step down after Italy's defeat on penalties in the playoff against Bosnia and Herzegovina on Tuesday. The federation will hold an extraordinary assembly on June 22 to elect a new chief, while Gravina offered to appear before a parliamentary committee on April 8 to report on the state of health of Italian soccer. A statement said the Italian soccer team last qualified for the World Cup in 2014 and has won only 1 match at the final since lifting the trophy for the 4th time, in 2006. Gravina's decision is expected to trigger the departure of Italy's coach, that is Gennaro Gattuso, as well. That's all by way of sports here on News360. My name is Mutala Yakubu. Entertainment is next.
More than half a century since humans last ventured into the moon. But in 2026, that journey is happening again. On April 1, NASA launched Artemis 2, the first crewed mission to travel around the moon since the Apollo program ended in 1972. But what does this mean for humanity? Etonam Enyunam Haliga has more in this explainer.
Half a century since humans last ventured to the moon. But in 2026, that journey is happening again, and this time it's bigger, bolder, and more inclusive. Now, on April 1, 2026, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, popularly known as NASA, launched Artemis 2, the first crew mission to travel around the moon since the Apollo program ended in 1972. The mission is carrying 4 astronauts on a 10-day journey that will take them thousands of kilometers beyond the Earth, loop them around the moon, and return them safely back home. Now, while the spacecraft will not land on the lunar surface, the flight is designed to test critical systems needed for future deep space missions. Now, traveling aboard the Orion spacecraft and powered by a space launch system, the crew will experience high-speed re-entry, deep space navigation, and prolonged exposure to the space environment, which is all essential for future missions. Artemis 2 is widely seen as a key step towards returning humans to the moon. The data collected will help engineers refine life support system, communication technology, and spacecraft performance ahead of planned lunar landings in the coming years. Now, the mission is also being commended for its diverse crew, marking the first time a woman, a black astronaut, and a non-American astronaut is part of a lunar mission, a significant shift from the earlier eras of space exploration. Now, beyond the mission itself, Artemis 2 is part of a broader long-term strategy to establish a sustained human presence on the moon, with plans to use it as a base for even more ambitious missions, including human exploration of Mars. Now, for scientists, engineers, and space agencies around the world, mission signals not just a return to the moon, but the beginning of a new era of exploration beyond the Earth. Enyonam Haliga, TV3 News, Accra.
Definitely looking forward to going to the moon very soon. All right, now to the international front end. Pam Bondi has been removed as U.S. Attorney General in the Trump administration. President Donald Trump posted on Truth Social to confirm that Bondi will take a new job in the private sector and be replaced by her deputy, Todd Blanche. Bondi's departure from the Trump administration is the third high-profile departure from Trump's cabinet this term. This follows that of former Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem earlier this year and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, whose job was added to Marco Rubio's portfolio. Time now for entertainment news.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by GTP Lifestyle
and Napa Foods. Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil.
Powered by 3 Entertainment.
Well, good evening and welcome to the entertainment news segment here on News360. My name is Noella Donko. Now, organizers of the annual Telecel Ghana Music Awards Charterhouse have officially announced nominees for the highly anticipated unsung category for the 27th edition of the award scheme. Now, the spotlight this year falls on a promising lineup of rising talents, including Cece, Kojore, Bosoma, Haven, and Morgan Nero, each vying for a coveted breakthrough opportunity on Ghana's biggest music stage. The unsung category remains one of the most exciting segments of the Telecel Ghana Music Awards, designed to spotlight and elevate emerging artists who are yet to secure mainstream recognition. Now, beyond the prestige, the winner earns a valuable performance slot on the main awards night, an exposure that has historically propelled careers into new heights. Over the years, the unsung category has proven to be fiercely competitive, serving as a launchpad for some of the industry's biggest new voices. As anticipation builds ahead of the TGMA 27, industry watchers and fans alike will be keenly observing which of these rising stars will seize the moment and step into the limelight.
See him ice skating. The next time you see him parked up on your pavement. Rather one time for my homie in the street than the 2-time and loser living in his mama basement. Jason, all the captains waiting on my downfall. Damn heck, I'm waiting on him too, but don't ask me. Baby, I just took Bako Jagbana Zangane. Hey, you're not new, Untona Plebane. At the cafe, let Toma to be jelly police. Hey, I got a senior for
The family of the late gospel icon Yao Sapong has announced details of his final funeral rites following his passing at age 63. The gospel legend will be laid in state on Saturday, May 9 at Asafwa Town Park, where the burial service and final funeral rites will also take place. Yao Sapong, founder of the Asmafo Band, is celebrated for his significant contributions to gospel music in Ghana. His legacy continues to resonate across generations, with many remembering him for his impactful songs and dedication to ministry through music. And that'll be it for the Entertainment News segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko.
And that's it for our bulletin this evening. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Martin Asiedu Date.
And I am Portia Gabodu. Join Alfredo Cancer at 10 p.m. for Ghana Tonight. Good evening.
Then somebody goes to see that every day.